everyone, can you hear me? These headphones are so weird. So we're doing another week of CV review live stream plus job search tips. And we are switching to a completely new setup. So like different part of the house, for example, different device, different streaming software. So hopefully this works, and do let me know. And I'll have to monitor the comments separately. So do let me know if something doesn't work, but I think I might need to fix my headphone just a little bit. But in the meantime, not sure if anyone has started watching yet. If you're watching, we're using a new way to try out the CV review. If you want to get your CV reviewed, we've got a special section on OfferBee that now allows you to request a CV review. And for now, it's free. So if you join the live stream, you'll get a free first-time CV review. And if you're okay with me sharing your CV in the live stream, which will be recorded, and I will be able to talk about it here. But make sure to also think of which jobs you're interested in, so I can use those jobs as an example to say whether the CV is a good fit or not, or whether there are things that we can adjust for the CV. So yeah, try it out and let me know what you think. So we're still testing this out, but I think this should be a more organized way of doing CV reviews rather than just randomly getting emails here and there and LinkedIn messages and so on. Let me just try to see if I can fix this issue with my headphones. So, I think we're live on all platforms, but there's not really a way for me to see all the chats yet in one place, so I'm gonna have to monitor the chats separately. Where is the chat? Okay, yes, so I have the chat for Twitch. Let me also have it up on LinkedIn. And for YouTube, where can I find it? So okay, for YouTube, we are also live, and I've got the live chats up. Ah, okay. Somebody on YouTube saying from LinkedIn, but I tried to join from LinkedIn, but I couldn't. Excuse me. So, there were some issues setting up LinkedIn, but we should be good now. Let me know if you have any trouble hearing, if you have any trouble, or as in hearing the live stream, if you don't hear the audio so well. If you're struggling, please do let me know as well. But okay, LinkedIn is still not up. Give me a second. I'm gonna set up LinkedIn, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Oops. So, are we live on LinkedIn? We should be good. Yes. Okay, we're live. Okay. I'm very new to OBS. It's very, very tricky. But we are ready to start reviewing the CVs of today. I should have a couple of CVs that people have already sent in, so I'm gonna start with those. And then we'll see if more people are gonna send in their CVs for us to review. And if not, I will start sharing a bit more on general job search advice. And what I'll also do is I'll go on Reddit, and there are a couple of subreddits where people post their anonymized CV and ask for feedback. So I'm going to take those as an example. The main caveat is that for those ones, we might not know what jobs the candidates are using to apply. So might be a little bit different in those cases, but we can start with the people who have already submitted their CV. Let me pull them out. So one second. So first we have someone who's a talent acquisition specialist. I think we talked briefly about the CV last time, but because last time this person didn't send in any jobs that they want to apply to, so we didn't go into a lot of detail. But this time this person has prepared a few job descriptions for me, so I'm gonna walk through their CV and I'm gonna look at their job descriptions as well. So you should be able to see my screen now. So this is a CV we looked at last time. This is somebody who's a talent acquisition and HR specialist. I think last time we spoke about main experiences looking good. Like they seem to mention a couple of bullet points for each experience, like interim HR officer, HR intern, and so on. And I like that they kind of categorized the different areas of their responsibilities with like in bold and in keywords as well at the start. So this is really good. And then, so they started working September 2023 as an intern, and the next role is interim HR officer. Most recent role, talent acquisition specialist. Volunteer. So this is the like area where it feels a bit strange to me. Like, it's a bit confusing, like what kind of organization it is and what kind of setup this is. So volunteering role typically is probably not 40 hours per week. Like it's not a full-time role, so it might be like part-time, and I think it might come across a bit like I'm not sure. So I think different hiring companies will perceive this experience a little bit differently because maybe they'll think that this is not a full-time job. Even if it was part-time, I think it's okay, but yeah, it just depends on like what kind of context they're hiring in. And also, if it were me, then I would, if it were me, I would also add a bit more description about what kind of organization Empowered Futures is. This could help, but let's see what jobs they submitted. Yeah, I don't think there were any major issues, to be honest. Like, we really just need to see what kind of position they want to apply to, so we'll take a look at that in a bit. So somebody on YouTube said, I try to upload my resume, but it says I have to pay. So actually, for people who are joining on the live stream, you get a discount code that gives you 100% off. So for people who are joining on the live stream today and who are seeing it live, you can submit your CV for free. And I will review it once I've reviewed all the ones that have already been submitted. So yeah, don't worry, you don't have to pay. Like once you click on it, it should have something that says like apply this discount code, and then you just apply the discount code at checkout. If it doesn't work, we'll also refund you. And if you accidentally like paid the amount when you shouldn't have, when you're expecting like 100% discount by applying the code, then let us know, like email us as well. We'll make sure to refund you. So for everyone who is joining today, then you still have this 100% off, like free. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the jobs. So they sent in 3 positions. Let's take a look. First, we've got talent acquisition partner at All Your BI. Job description, maybe you call yourself talent recruiter. Yeah, okay, this is not very interesting. What do we offer? Okay, interesting. I've never seen a company where the job description like first says the salary up front. Like this is, I've never seen this. So looks good, but also you're a bit like, too good to be true. But I mean, good for them. Like I think it's really good, but I've just never seen this. So excuse me. What do they offer? Salary, sabbatical, working remotely. Okay, yeah. About us. Fast-growing remote-first company based in Rotterdam. Okay, cool. We work in Holacracy. Okay. I actually worked at a company, an organization that had this Holacracy structure, and they say, oh, there's no hierarchy. But at the end of the day, there is hierarchy. Like, there's still somebody who is the big boss, right? And they're still calling the shots. But it's just like, I think flattening the responsibilities made things a little bit more fluid and confusing. It wasn't like, I think it wasn't really doing anything special for us that we like wouldn't be able to achieve without it. So anyways, talent acquisition partner, intersection recruitment, employer branding, community building. Okay, so first keywords: recruitment, employer branding, and community building, because some companies don't need the talent acquisition person to do employer branding and community building. Like sometimes that's a completely different job. Like sometimes you have a separate job called employer branding specialist or along those lines, where for talent acquisition you just focus on hiring, and then the employer branding focuses on like all the other things. So employer branding could be like building an active like online presence, or it could be building like doing like online events, offline events to try and get like talents to be involved with a company. But in this case, seems like they want this person to do a bit of these 3 things. So these 2 are keywords. Help us find great people, build strong talent community, continuously improve. Okay, so key responsibilities. What did we talk about last time? We look at the first 3 keywords, first 3 to 4 bullet points of the responsibilities and requirements section. Those are the most important. So now let's take a look. Run end-to-end hiring processes, take ownership from hiring to start to finish. Smooth human, maybe a bit of fun. Okay, cool. Yeah, pretty standard. Partner with hiring circles. Yeah, so hiring circles, I imagine this would mean something that's the equivalent of like hiring teams. So maybe this just means like you're gonna work with the interviewers and the hiring managers to help define the process, and yeah, seems pretty standard. Build and nurture the talent community. Stay connected with great people, even if we're not hiring. Create moments to keep that connection alive. Events, meetup, content. Okay, so maybe this means like you have to probably organize some kind of event, meetup, online or offline, and create content. So it could be like creating LinkedIn posts, creating blog. Bring our employer brand to life together with employer branding role. Translate. Yeah, okay, so there is another person that does employer branding, but I guess it means like this person will also do a bit of employer branding and work with them. Translate stories from LinkedIn to interviews to events. Yeah. Okay. Improve how we hire. Yeah, this is very standard. You will ace this role if you love to connect with people, build relationships, challenge thinking. Yeah, okay, this is pretty standard. Job requirements. Okay, first 3 to 4 bullet points again. 3 to 5 years of experience in talent acquisition where quality of hire really matters. Yeah, 3 to 5 plus. Strong business understanding of what good looks like in a role. Confidence to guide and challenge stakeholders. Like these 2 really standard. Like if you're a talent acquisition person, like you do this. Proactive mindset, go and find people, not wait for them. So this tells me that you probably have to do quite a bit of sourcing of some sort. And this, like, when a role requires a lot of sourcing, it either means that the talent acquisition specialist works on very niche and specific roles that tend to not have a lot of talent applying directly, or it means that this company is still relatively small and relatively early stage. Like all the startups that I've hired for that were under like 50 people, we all had to do sourcing. Because when you're a 50 people company, like nobody knows about you, right? It's not like you're Facebook, you're Google, where everybody knows about you, or that you make like, everyday consumer goods and everybody knows you because of that. So this to me implies that you need to have done some sourcing. And because they didn't specify which area or which job functions this talent acquisition specialist will focus on, I think it's an indication that the organization is probably quite small, early stage, somehow like not super well known. So let's take a look at that in a bit. What else? Data-driven way of working. A data-driven way of working. Use insights to improve. Yeah. Okay. Basically data-driven, and then English. Yeah, this is pretty basic. Then experience hiring for technical data-related roles, and or speaking an additional European language is a plus. Okay, cool. Pretty standard. Then let's come back to the CV itself. So earlier we saw like two things that this person will probably have to focus on in addition to 360 full cycle recruitment. First, employer branding and community building, which may include like some events and creating some content. And secondly, the probably active sourcing aspect. So this is like how I deduce from the job description that we've been given. So let's take a look together then at this CV again. So first, full cycle recruitment, this is good. Let me just double check like what phrasing they use, because sometimes it's like 360, sometimes full cycle. Yeah, end to end. Here they say end to end. Yeah, then I would say something like, I think full cycle is fine, including job posting, sourcing. Yeah, sourcing is good. Weekly KPI, talent sourcing, yeah. This is very good, but I think maybe here, because they were also saying like, this was the third point. They were looking for candidates that have worked specifically on technical roles or data-driven roles. So for example, in talent sourcing, like if I were this person, then I would try to highlight like, how was my sourcing capability? Because sourcing is something that is very like KPI metrics driven, like, conversion rate or like response rate, conversion rate, response rate, because you can see all these things in the LinkedIn tool that we normally use for sourcing or whatever tool you use. So if you have some like really good conversion rates, like definitely mention it here. Like I think on my CV when I was describing my oldest experience at some point, when I was still working as a talent acquisition specialist, at some point I think like I saw that there was this number that I saw on our dashboards that was like 24% of the candidates that I put forward passed through to the second interview round, something like that. So those numbers, like really you can maybe put more of them in if you do have good numbers, because like how you describe talent sourcing here, I feel like could use more. Yeah, it could be giving me a bit more information, because if you're, like for example, you're also highlighting your reporting and data skills. So maybe like, okay, what KPIs were you tracking? Because there's so many in recruiting you can track. It's very like funnel pipeline driven stuff, like, sourcing response rates, like time to hire is another common one, like the time it takes from opening a position to officially closing it by the time that the candidate like signs the offer, signs the contract, and all these different things. So I would add like a lot more of that. Here as well, like same. Also, if you've hired for technical positions, if you hired for like data-driven positions, definitely put like that information here. Sorry, let me just keep monitoring the chat on the different platforms, like struggling with this a little bit just to make sure. What's the promo code? Oh, sorry, I think then maybe we don't have the promo code on the platform yet, but let me share the promo code in the live stream. 1 second. So, promo code is livestream2903. Livestream all lowercase 2903, just the 4-digit numbers. So maybe like in a bit when I take a break, I'm gonna add it to the screen so you can see it. Livestream2903. So livestream2903. Great. Now let's continue. Talked about adding any technical roles you worked on. Yeah, here for example, recruited junior to senior roles. Can you maybe specify like what area of like what kind of job families you hired for? Because maybe you focus more on business roles, so that would be like sales, marketing, customer success, customer support, or maybe you focus more on technical roles, or maybe you focused on like other kind of roles. So it would be good to like mention that, especially if previously you have hired for what they're looking for, and it would be like just a shame if you missed out on that information. And as I'm talking, I realized that if we were to add more information into each of these bullet points based on the job description, this person will be really running out of space. Because look, right now it's very, very tight, right? Like if they add another sentence, then this would already push out a lot of the existing information. What I would suggest, the About Me section is too long. To be honest, like you can really just keep it 3 lines max. That's it. Because like you can say stuff like, I bring strong intercultural communication skills, blah, 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 psychological principles, improve candidate support. Like this is all quite fluffy because I can't really verify whether you truly have strong intercultural communication skills or not. But if you say that, oh, like my sourcing response rate was like, I don't know, 20%, that's a concrete number, and then that's something that I can work with to assess your skills at this stage. So I would say trim this about section to just like first 3 sentences. And if I were you, based on what we talked about, I would highlight, instead of coordinating, I would say leading full cycle recruitment. And then you don't need the word processes, just say full cycle recruitment. And instead of saying stakeholder communication, maybe highlight like employer branding. That's another one. I don't think I saw employer branding here. DI and culture maybe is a little bit. Yeah. If you have done employer branding, really make sure to emphasize it. What else did we say? Events. Yeah, if you've done events for hiring, for attracting talent, if you've done like even just like an online meetup or like an online webinar of some sort, that would be really good. So yeah, I think we have a lot of room for improvement. And even if, let's say, we trim out these 4 or 5 lines here, if you're still missing the space, I think, to be honest, we can further optimize a bit, because like I think this left-hand side, like you don't need to put the picture out. There's this urban legend that apparently in Germany, when you apply to jobs, you need a picture. I don't understand why that is, because it kind of goes against the potential like discrimination principles, anti-discrimination principles that we're supposed to go with when making hiring decisions. And it's not like if they can't see what you look like, then that somehow hinders the decision-making process at the start. Like it just makes no sense to me, and I've never heard in my like 3 to 4 years of working talent acquisition any company that actually requires you to put a photo. I've only heard of people repeating the urban legend. So at least in Germany, like I've never seen any company that requires it. So here, like I think you're applying to companies in the Netherlands. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter that much in the Netherlands as well. So if you're running out of space, really try to re-optimize, remove the photo. This headline can be a bit smaller anyways, doesn't need to take up this much space. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. I hope that makes sense. And maybe now that we've gone through this job description, I'm just gonna go through the other two that you shared really quickly so then we can look at other people's CVs. First, let's look at this one, Junior Talent Acquisition Specialist. Talent. I think this is quite a well-known company, isn't it? Talent, I've heard of it somehow. So pay attention to this, very important. Well, actually the second one's not important because there's always over 100 people who are applying to every single job. Um, but also it's not like 100 people applied, it's just 100 people who clicked apply, and if there's like more information you have to fill out on a separate page, then it doesn't mean anything. So, okay, this is important. So this job was posted at least a week ago. One thing that we've talked about in the last one is, in the live stream, is that just because your CV fits every single requirement and even exceeding every single requirement on the job description, that doesn't mean this is the only reason why this is the only thing that they're basing their interview decision on. Because like in reality, they also can't handle interviewing like all 500 people who apply to a job. So what's most likely happening is that they review inbound applications on a rolling basis. So let's say I open this job on Monday. I get like 200 applicants by the end of the week. Then I look, from the bottom of the pile all the way up. So I start by looking at the most, like the person who applied first, and then second, and then third. And normally the thing is like for a lot of these junior jobs especially, like the bar really isn't that high when it comes to job requirements. And the junior roles that I have hired for, I think out of the whole pipeline of maybe 200 people who applied, like probably at least a third of them could really already do the job. And I do believe that they could do the job because, some of these jobs are really not that hard. The actual hiring process is much harder because it's much more dependent on like timing, luck, personal preferences of all the interviewers and the hiring team, their experiences, how well known the company is, a lot of these different things, and how like the market dynamic is at the time of your application. So even if they have, let's say, 100 people that are really qualified, they can only really realistically end up interviewing 10. And if you apply early, you can see why, based on this logic, that you have an advantage, and why if you apply too late, like let's say 2 weeks later, they already have maybe finished interviewing all 10 people, and those 10, probably 5 will move forward to the next stage. And it's very likely that companies can make a hire out of 10 people they interview at the first stage. So very important, make sure to pay attention to this, and not to say like if a job was like posted 1 week ago, then you just don't apply, but really in your head, make sure to set your expectations right, that there's a huge chance that they're already interviewing enough people. On the other hand, what you can do is then, like a lot of people already do this, so you can filter on LinkedIn by date posted and check past 24 hours. You can also do past week. I think past week is totally fine. It's possible that like, some companies post a job posting and then the person responsible is sick for like 2 days, or like goes on holiday for a week, and then they come back next week and then they start reviewing the pipeline. Like that's also possible. So yeah, really like keep this in mind. So let's look at the job. As a junior talent acquisition specialist, you support hiring across different teams, sourcing, engagement, recruitment operations. Okay, this one doesn't have like employer branding or anything. Excuse me. Key focus of this role is proactively identifying, engaging talent. You'll be part of the people team, talent acquisition. Yeah, okay, very basic. Like, ideal for someone early in their recruitment career. Cool. This is nice. First 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. What you'll be doing. Source. Yeah, sourcing. LinkedIn and other channels, building, nurturing talent pipelines, blah, blah, blah. Collaborate closely with the talent acquisition business partner, develop sourcing strategies. Yeah, sourcing once again. Screen candidates. Yeah. Coordinate interviews. Yeah, basic. Will you bring early career experience, recruitment, talent sourcing related role? excuse me, LinkedIn Recruiter and sourcing tools. So did we have LinkedIn Recruiter? Yeah, okay, LinkedIn. Oops. Okay, cool. So I think same principle applies to what we talked about before. Need to emphasize sourcing a lot more because I think this is the main focus of the role, that they mentioned it like twice in 2 separate bullet points, and also at the start as well, so at least like 3 times. So it's gonna be sourcing heavy. Make sure to highlight the sourcing experiences. And also I have a gut feeling that this is a big company. Okay, 200 to 500, this is fine. Don't know if we can find out about funding stage. Let's see. Funding stage, because if they are well funded, okay, cannot see. Because sometimes if they're well funded, if they've had multiple fundraising rounds, then that sometimes means that they are a little bit more well known, and the more well known the company, the more competitive they are, because they've probably been around the market and they've posted quite a lot on LinkedIn, and they pay for maybe other channels as well. So yeah, that's the second one we looked at. Let's look at the third one together. Okay, so I think on YouTube somebody says uploaded successfully. Okay, great. So let me then make sure to review your CV in a bit. Let's take a look together. All right, let's look at this job, Office and HR Coordinator. So this is a different job from talent acquisition. Like first and foremost, like first, at least 50% of this role will be about managing the office, which is stuff like maybe you're gonna like ensure that the staff fridge is stocked, coffee machine is like working, you know, it's this kind of stuff rather than actually working on talent acquisition. So I think you might want to be a little bit careful, because this is kind of like a slightly different career path, right? And your talent acquisition experience don't apply so much to the office management setup. So then it's kind of like you have less experience to show on the office management front, you know what I mean? So your chances will be a little bit lower, because it'll be obvious to the decision makers that you're like you come from a little bit of a different area. And also I don't consider the office coordinator role to be more junior or whatever than the talent acquisition role. It's just very different skills and responsibilities, because I think sometimes people have this mindset of like, oh, if I apply to like an easier job, then I'm more likely to get in. No, not really, because there are people who have done more in their career as office coordinators and managers that like really have seen those responsibilities and manage those responsibilities, and you're not going to be able to compete against some of those candidates. So really just make sure to, you know, keep that in mind. All right, roll. Also, salary seems quite low, but yeah, I don't know. I think salary seems quite low, but I don't know much about the Netherlands, like salaries in general. And also this is not in Amsterdam, so I guess. Okay. Simply Green. Okay, yeah. Smoking accessories and related products. Yeah, okay. I think I know what this is. The role, organized, people-oriented office and HR coordinator. Generalist role combines HR admin, day-to-day office management. Yeah. Go-to person, HR admin, employee correspondence, and office operational. Yeah, so preparing, okay, HR preparing, issuing employment contracts, contract amendments, yeah. Managing the company absence calendar, login approved holidays, sick days, appointment. Huh? Isn't it done just in like a software? Like, why do you need somebody to manually manage it? I don't understand. Okay, anyways, I mean, you know, I don't know. Coordinating the sickness absence process, registering absences, liaising with a company doctor to arrange appointments. What? Don't you go to your own doctor when you're sick? I'm confused. Yeah, I'm pretty confused. Uh, New hire onboarding. Okay, yeah. HR options. Yeah, tracking employee expense claims. Supporting recruitment administration. I think it's just a very small company that doesn't really have like, because why are they asking the office manager to also do some of these like HR employee stuff? Yeah, I don't understand. It's not a very standard setup in tech companies, I would say. So, but this maybe is not really like a typical tech company because they do smoking accessories. Um, 1 to 3 years HR support. So yeah, this candidate definitely has the HR experience. Working knowledge of Dutch employment law basics, yeah. English, yeah. Highly organized, yeah. This is all pretty basic. Experience with numbers or a comparable Dutch payroll system. Familiar with ERP system. NetSuite, okay. Wait, useful as we're actively scaling our system. Then can you please first get an HR software that where people can log their absences like automatically? Like, why does it need to be done by a person? Okay, but if you do want to apply to this role still, then make sure to mention like Dutch payroll platform and ERP system. So I think that's it. Yes. So that would be the first CV. Might need to take a quick like 1 minute break just to make sure that my setup is still good because I saw that the camera had like a pretty big glare and also I'm getting some messages on LinkedIn. So just give me 1 second. So the next CV we're gonna review is a software engineering one. Let me just quickly take a look. So, the software engineering case is pretty interesting because this person sent me two versions of their CV. First was before they made any edits based on the job description, and the second one was when they gave it a try themselves, trying to edit it based on the job description. And the company's called Hole Punch, so you'll see in a bit. But for now, let me take a quick break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, we are back. I hope you can hear me well. Let me actually quickly go and adjust the lighting. 1 sec. All right, we're looking much better now. And let me just close the curtain. All right, so we are back, and now let's take a look at some software engineering CVs. So let's look at the before first without looking at the job yet. Software engineer, React, TypeScript. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully you can see. React, TypeScript, Node.js, Node.js, AWS, Python, 5 years full stack development, product ownership, social and environmental impact projects. Okay, work experience, Root Global. First impression is that the work experiences are a little bit too brief. Like you only have 2 bullet points per experience, which is really like not a lot. If you've seen what we talked about last time, I mentioned that it's best to have at least like 3 bullet points. Otherwise, you're not giving it enough for the hiring team to work with. You know what I mean? Like we can only make inferences based on any information that you share. If you don't share them, then we can't just guess and say that you've done that. So, like for example, without looking yet at what jobs this person's gonna apply to, first I would be interested to know what these organizations are. Like, what is Root Global? Like, is it like for example, I saw that you said social and environmental impact projects. Those are what you're interested in. So maybe if you previously already worked on those types of projects or organizations, then it also really helps. Like they see that you're somebody who's really passionate in the area and that you have similar work experience and you're familiar with a kind of organizational setup. So it's best to add like extra line underneath the company name and say like, NGO that focused on blah blah. And also for a software engineer, it'd be interesting to know like what kind of product or what kind of like thing you build basically, because for example you can be building a consumer or end user facing product. It could be like web, it could be like mobile apps. Like in this case it says web applications, so this is good. But in general, it's also good to mention, like for example, if you're applying to a company that mainly has a I don't know, consumer facing product, so it'd be good for the hiring team to know. What else? You could also, so first, ideally add another line about what the company does and kind of a bit more on like, to provide more relevant information about the company that is similar to maybe what you're applying to. Here, like, you definitely need to mention the tech stack that you use in every single organization. So like not just the programming languages or the frameworks themselves, but also like what were their cloud technologies, what were the database technologies, and so on. So that on its own could like add another line. Built and scaled full stack web applications. Like when you say applications, like is it multiple or is it just one application that was like the main product of the company? Like what technologies you use, continuously developing on time, fast-paced environment. This is a comma, like ideally there's no comma here, right? And you could also talk about the team setup. Like, did you work in a team of developers? Like, were you all full stack or were some people front end, back end, whatever? Like, to kind of help us picture what kind of like collaboration environment you're in. Did you work with product teams? Like, I've seen recently on Reddit that some engineering managers, for example, were specifically asked in the hiring process, like, how was your experience collaborating with product teams? So, yeah, like, we could really use a lot more information here. Develop core features enabling growing number of customer track. Yeah. I think not giving us much to work with like this, for example, could have been part of the line that describes what the company does. So, climate farmers. Yeah, same here. There's like, we're not getting anything about what you did. Like implementing new application, okay, yeah, like web, what platform, like mobile, what were some of the main features, architecture, enhanced scalability, performance, like, like what were the highlights, like like, can you give us some details to work with, like how did you know that you did a good job enhancing the performance, like what maybe you reduced certain metric by whatever. And I don't know, I'm not a technical person, so I can't like really say exactly what metrics you want to look at, but it's whatever maybe you could kind of pull from your previous experiences. But yeah, I think my main issue just is like we're not giving a lot to work with. Education, yeah, web development, yeah, the rest is fine. I really like this. recommendations. This is great. I love this. This is super, super, super helpful. But like the meaty part, the main part is your previous working experience section, and we need a lot more information. So with that, let's take a look at the job description. I'm gonna close the page not found. Hole punch. So let's search. Got my pinging. Hole punch front end. Peer-to-peer company, join us. Apply now. Mobile engineer, primary, senior, okay, this one. So they took down their LinkedIn job ad, or maybe they just changed the URL. The recruitee, yeah, maybe they changed the URL. So here, let's take a look. Hole punch, P2P developing platform, open source technology. Pair, okay, eliminates the need for traditional server infrastructure. Pair platform facilitates direct deployment applications and leveraging Node.js based technology. Okay, yeah, this pretty technical key to our flagship. Okay, join our mission, front-end engineer, talented, motivated front-end engineer, join our dynamic team. React and running on the Pair runtime. Okay, yeah. React was on the CV for sure. You work on everything from UI UX implementation, performance optimization also mentioned, but really I would want to see much more than just like improved performance. Helping shape the future of decentralized communication, proven experience with React, Preact and modern JavaScript, TypeScript. Yeah, this, I saw that this was like here in the headline, so that's good. But I want to see it contextualized as well, ideally. So definitely include like these technologies that you use in each of these experiences. Strong competency in state management. Redux Toolkit Zustand is similar. Did we see this? So definitely not up top and not in the experiences. What about projects tech overview? Oh, this is all okay. This is all on a second page. Not ideal. I think it would be good to really just see them in context, because normally when we're reviewing the CV, we focus primarily on the work experience section, and then we look at other things that are maybe the skills section. Education is not important in the tech context unless it's a very, very like technical job that requires a specific degree, but most of the times, no. Like for software engineering jobs, for example, most of the times we don't look at the education section. Language is sometimes important, but in this case, they didn't mention a specific like language. And then normally we don't look so much at the project section, so I think having this information on the second page is really like quite easy to miss, especially because we're most likely going to be skimming through within like 10 to 30 seconds. So yeah, get rid of all of that on the second page, but instead like put them all into the work experiences. So now we have to look for what Redux and Redux Toolkit and what's the other one called? Zustand. So I'm not super familiar with Redux or anything like that. So I'm just gonna look for the keyword, which is what a lot of recruiters will be doing. We don't all come from the background that for the roles that we're hiring for. So we do have to rely a little bit on the keyword, or sometimes the hiring manager says like, oh, when you're scanning the CVs, like look for these keywords, and then we go look for those keywords. So yeah, I think I don't see Redux either, unless I'm missing one of those logos. But if it's not obvious to me, then it's not going to be obvious to a lot of hiring, like recruiters specifically. Maybe hiring manager, fine, because they're probably also in engineering. But ability to write modular, maintainable, well-tested code. Solid skill. Like I think this is a bit hard. Like you can say, I maintain high code standard for my code, and it's well tested. I don't know, but maybe you can give more examples of when you also like how you maybe set up the testing or how you, I don't know, test code in those experiences. Ability to write modular, maintainable, well tested code. Yeah, I think maybe this is not something that is gonna be able to be screened right away always. Solid skill set in testing and debugging complex front-end applications. So, okay, so they mentioned test twice, like well-tested code and solid skill set in testing. So here, our ears should perk up, and we should be ideally adding some descriptions of how we like maybe implement like good testing practices into the previous experience, even if it's just one extra sentence like highlighting how you did that. I think that would be good. Deep interest or experience with P2P technology distributed systems, like this I didn't see in the CV, would be good to have that. Comfortable working remote, yeah, this is very important because like not everybody is used to working remotely where you have to kind of either over communicate or you communicate on a set schedule and like you have to keep good documentation. So it's actually quite an important factor for fully remote companies when they're hiring. So I think it would be good if you could mention in your CV, like, for this and this company or these projects, you worked fully remote as well, or you worked like, I don't know, mostly remote, mostly hybrid or something like that. And then mention how maybe you leverage good documentation, like maybe how you use like you set up certain like communication guidelines with your team. Next, preferred qualifications, experience desktop application development. Similar. Okay, I don't really understand what these things are for. I don't know what runtime is, but if they ask and if you have this, ideally you mention it. Or maybe if you used other runtimes, I don't know what that means for desktop application development, then maybe mention that as well. But it seems like our candidate has mostly been doing web applications. So in the case where if you're a technical person and they're looking for like a technical thing that you haven't done before in full-time work experiences, you can also list it under your skills if that's something that you've explored like in a side project, or if that's something that you've I don't know, learned in some kind of education. Having that keyword is better than not having that keyword, so try to mention that as well and just like really cover as much ground. Familiarity with video audio APIs, yeah, this I didn't see on the CV, definitely need to have that. Demonstrate ability to optimize UI performance, yeah, so we saw performance earlier, right, but we didn't see like specifics. Experience building cross-platform, yeah, this would be good to mention, but yeah, let's see how much maybe desktop application experience our candidate has. Past contributions to OSS project, especially in P2P decentralized tech. Yeah, we've gone through that, and now it'd be interesting to see how this person has like edited their own CV based on the job and how much like similarity we have in our feedbacks. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize they didn't have the job title. So main changes I notice are that first we have more keywords in the skill. That's really good. Redux, Fushan, yeah, mentioned a lot of things that we didn't mention earlier. Yeah, like great. I think they covered like some of the things we noticed as well. Debugging, performance optimization. But to be honest, I feel like the layout is a little bit like there's still quite a lot of real estate, and to be honest, as mentioned earlier, you don't need an image, you don't need a photo, so you can free up like quite a lot of space here, and you move all of these things up, put name and maybe like software engineer to the side, and then you can move your bio to the left as well. So right hand side you just keep skills, work experience, and so on. Work experience, yeah, so still the main issue is I want to see those technical keywords in context, and these experiences are really too short. 2 bullet points is not enough. So last time I showed what's this person's name again? Jonathan Javier on LinkedIn, I think. So he has some really interesting examples of his own CVs. Let's try to find it together. Like, I think this is always the example that I pull up when I see somebody who doesn't have enough bullet points or whose bullet points are too simple, because yeah, I hope you can see, or at least like get the rough gist. You can look up the full template in a bit in your own time, but like, for example, each sentence is very like action driven, like research user trends to implement blah 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 for a new update, improving user experience, blah blah blah, and increase customer authorized satisfaction rating by 11%. Like, very numerical, very measurable, like concrete things that he's done. And he, like, for other ones, for example, solving 300 plus customer queries weekly through CRM platforms, including Zendesk, Confluence, and Jira, mentioning the platforms technologies that are needed. And he's got at least 3 bullet points per experience, and he was an intern like for most of these. So like, usually you don't have a huge amount of workload as an intern. If he could like mention some of these things, then I'm sure you can too, with your previous full-time experiences. And sometimes people say, oh, my previous job didn't measure these metrics. What do? I don't have any measurable things. Like, obviously, if you didn't have the number, don't fake it. But if you didn't have the precise number and knew the rough number, you can also give an estimate. Like, for example, improved something by like 30% roughly. If the actual number is somewhere in between, like, I think that's fine. Or like, reduced a quarter of the, I don't know, customer support inquiries through this new implementation. Like, there are ways to phrase it to still make sure that you have achievements that we can kind of perceive, right? So yeah, really try to paint us a fuller picture of who you were, what you did in those jobs, even if we like even if we had you had other colleagues who were doing the same jobs, like maybe they did things that were quite different from you, right? So what were your unique contributions? Like, how can I maybe picture you in a full-time setting at our company? So give us those juicy details. So I would say to this person, I think you are already in touch with me. So once you've seen the live stream or the recording, really try to make some more edits, and then send me another version through OfferBee, and then I can like give you a final. But I think you have a lot of interesting work, and you have a very interesting direction, which is that you want to work in sustainable organizations that had something to do with more sustainability, or NGOs, right? I think that's really, really cool. So definitely keep it up. And you've got really good work experiences, like 5+ years. So just need to like tweak some of those things. But yeah, good luck. Oh, let's look at the second page. Yeah, project text overview. Like, I need this in the first page. Yeah, education for sure can go on the second page, but I need the rest. Great. So let me take a quick 2-minute water break, and I will also pull some of those CVs that just came in to our screen, and then we can talk about them in a bit. All right. We are back, and now we've got another CV we're going to look at together. So, this is somebody who's got more of a product manager, project manager type profile. So, let's take a look together. So, this person said it's okay to use his personal information and not have it anonymized. So, just so you know, I have his consent. And let's take a look together. General CV layout is good. It's quite compact and it has like quite a lot of the key information. And I like that he put the logo of the companies as well, even though I don't necessarily recognize them off the top of my head, but it's still nice like for a visual break. Cool. So we've got all the information here. I think it's decent. So quite a lot of different experience, it seems like. So we've got a PhD in mechanical engineering, and then contract management, project manager, sales and marketing. So that's a bit different. Okay, interesting. And then product development, analytical numerical models. Interesting. Okay, very different jobs. Agricultural engineering, bioeconomy, project manager, scientist. Okay, interesting. I think one thing I can foresee that would maybe be a thing we have to think about is all these kind of different jobs. And they could be quite different from each other, so we just have to see like what kind of job this person wants to apply to. So I've got two that he's sent in. First, we've got product manager role for digital solutions. As the product manager for digital solutions, intersection technology business customers, align daily with global teams, development cloud-based AWS, on-premise predictive emission monitoring system, ensuring progress on the highest impact product priorities, translate customer insights, pilot learnings, regulatory requirements. Okay, closer with engineering. So product manager for a pretty technical product. Together with regional teams and product lines, you shape market-ready releases and support customer engagements, accelerate adoption, balance product strategy, deliver market integration to scale. Okay. Interesting. Own the end-to-end success. Product authority across development, commercialization, deployment. Driving commercialization of a cloud-based emissions monitoring system. Define product strategy and priorities, translate marketing needs. Actually, this might be a good role for our CV owner because he did do sales and marketing, and he did do a bit of he did do engineering. So he comes from a very strong STEM background. He has a PhD. But it might be a matter of how we then can frame all of those experiences. But also, to be honest, I'm not very familiar with like companies like Siemens Energy, because they're more like kind of typical corporate, I guess, and especially like for a pretty technical product. So I don't know if I'll be able to accurately predict what the hiring team would be looking for, but let's try. Define product strategy, priorities, translate market needs, regulatory, lead cross-functional delivery, engineering, data science. Okay, so still very like typical product role, but just like validate the product with customers through pilot deployments, shape regulatory readiness. Yeah, this is important. So this regulatory aspect was mentioned at least twice, I think, so just keep that in mind. Certification bodies aligning PEMs with evolving machinery. Okay, what you bring, degree in engineering, yeah, done. Proven ability to lead cross-functional teams. This let's keep an eye out. Strong product mindset, able to translate technical capabilities to clear customer value and business outcomes. Experience with cloud platforms, data-driven, the blah. Domain knowledge in industrial systems such as emissions monitoring, gas turbines, energy systems, or industrial digitalization. English. Okay. Interesting role. So let's take a look. Project manager slash scientist up until now. Coordinating cross-functional efforts across 27 partners. Margin up project. What is the margin up project? I want to know more because I'm trying to find things that you've done that are as similar to the product manager role at Siemens Energy as much as possible. So I'll be looking for somebody who has worked on a digital product cross-functionally from a product person's perspective with commercial, with data, with all these different stakeholders as well. Then facilitated knowledge exchange across 6 countries by organizing internationals. Oh wait, sorry, I missed this one. Improve stakeholder engagement, reporting efficiency. Okay, enhance biomass processing, optimizing tools. Fire. Okay. Generate critical regional biomass data through field study. This is, I guess, the scientist half of the project manager scientist role. Increase model accuracy. So, okay, interesting. Product development. Let's take a look. So there's no job title here. So product development. Oh, like what kind of role? I would like to maybe see the actual job title. Improved lubricant performance prediction accuracy 35%. Analytical models. So what I'm seeing actually a little bit different from what I was expecting is that it seems like this person has a lot of really good engineering backgrounds, hands-on engineering experiences, but I'm missing the product part big time because the engineering part is about probably actually improving the product through like these different models, and you really just making the product itself better, more effective, and so on. But the role of a product manager is more like coordinating plus like strategic decision making, and I'm not seeing a lot of strategic decision making from a product point of view in the CV, and I think that's the main problem. For example, central product authority across development, commercialization, and deployment. I think if I were on the hiring team and if I were to want to give an interview with this person, then ideally I would see more of those like experiences where you're really sitting between all these different teams and you're coordinating, and how are you maybe translating like market insights, like customer feedback, or like regulatory needs into the product. And I haven't seen that really anywhere yet. Sales marketing here, it's a little bit different, like it's much more on the sales side. Project manager, research and development, yeah, this is very R&D heavy. I think we've got a very R&D heavy profile, and I'm not seeing much product experience. So for example, like define product strategy, like this is very basic, this is very like fundamental for a product manager. Like basically you need to be telling the team and you need to be telling the people who are actually implementing or improving the product, like what do you want them to improve, like what should we focus on now, what should we focus on next, what should we focus on in the long run, like what are some of the market needs that we need to integrate into the product, how do we respond to feedback. Yeah, regulatory developments, like I need to see some regulatory keywords in there. Customer insights into clear direction. Lead cross-functional delivery with engineering, data science, domain expert. Like if you're the product person, then you're not the person who's improving like your product directly yourself. You're doing this by like highlighting the metrics, highlighting the goals, creating an action plan. Like how do we get to the increasing the top line metric, like maybe we do this by adding these functionalities or incorporating these features. Like for a software product that I've worked on, usually it's like this. And for a technical product, like that involves maybe more like, I don't know, field expertise, like you need to think a little bit more in that direction. But yeah, to be honest, I think I think we need a lot of tweaking So for example, if you've done if you have any kind of project manager responsibilities, like maybe think a little bit more of how you can word that into product work. Like, not only did you coordinate, but did you also make key decisions? Like, were you the one, like, maybe creating some kind of a strategy? Like, were you the one coordinating between different, like, how are you incorporating these insights? So ideally I would see that here. And yeah, let me know if this is something you can really rephrase. Like, can you add more ways that you've steered the product strategy? And the regulatory part, like they repeated that twice, so it's probably quite important. Like, have you had to work with maybe like regulatory needs specifically? Like, for example, previously you said that you worked at City University of London. I don't know, is there something also there that you can mention that has to do with like regulatory requirements? So yeah, overall I think this CV is not giving product manager in general. If you have those experience, please highlight them. If you don't, then maybe your profile is not a super strong fit right now for this specific role. And also, I'm pretty sure Siemens Energy, because Siemens is one of the biggest German companies, so Siemens Energy is going to be quite competitive as well. Like, this job is already closed for new applications. So we're probably going to struggle a little bit here. And they probably have like easily hundreds of people who apply every week. So maybe if you have somebody who can refer you, then that could really make you jump the queue ideally, and that'd be really great. And your chances of getting to the interview stage will drastically increase. And I've seen data where it shows that your chances could be as much as 42% of landing the first interview. So try to see if you can get somebody at Siemens or Siemens Energy to refer you. I think those are two different entities, but yeah, if you can find somebody at Siemens Energy to refer you, that would be really, really good. But still, like, I think there is a bit of a gap in terms of your profile. So let's look at the second one, technical project manager, information management. So job posting start date February 27, 2026. It's already March 29th, so it's already been over a month since the job's been open, so that should also ring a bell, as what we said earlier. If it's been a month, then chances are they could be well underway already in terms of like their interview activities. They could already have good candidates that are almost at the end of the interview stages. So it might not be the case that they're still reviewing new CVs or that they're actively considering new CVs, because they're not going to have the capacity to interview all the people who apply and are qualified. So yeah, just keep that in mind, and really take that into account. So when you get a rejection, know that it's most likely probably because you applied to this role too late, or at least one of the factors. So let's take a look. GE, another huge company. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very, very competitive. Grid systems, integrations, business moving to a digitally integrated way. Combines 50% information management, 50% technical project management. Okay, operation maintenance phase, data information. Okay. Don't know anything about HVDC EPCI. Information manager, access project information manager, ensuring the project is the right information, right quality. Okay. Create, communicate, update project management, project information plan, PIP. Well, PIP means something very different in the software tech world. Usually it means performance improvement plan, and it's the sign that they're gonna fire you. But interesting. GE strategy, customer requirements plan, coordinates. So our candidate has done project management. Let me go back in a bit. Let me just first plan, coordinate, manage information management activities across the product lifecycle, including identifying key risk dependencies, constraints, raising emergent deviations, quality team, operate, manage common data environment, interface with customer CDs, coordinate with engineering PM functions to plan and create plan creation, execution, reference designation. Oh my god, there's so many so many new acronyms and terms. Object type library, OTL implementation plan. Okay, yeah, I've not heard of any of these. So I don't know if you know the field and if you have done these things, I think it will be really, really, really important for you to just add those keywords in. Single point of contact. Okay, like, yeah, why is this one acronymized? Like, why is this one like with an acronym? For customers regarding information management systems, coordinate supplier information engagement requirements together with engineering, procurement, and quality. Yeah, I think like this field is very different from the software tech company field that I typically have hired for, so I can't give you as much information as I do with the software roles. But if they mention a keyword or if they mention an abbreviation or terminology that is like specific to the role, then if you have done that, even if you've done it in a different like maybe way, but as long as they mean the same thing, then make sure those acronyms and terminologies show up in the CV. Like what do we have here for project management, cross-functional efforts managing this project? Yeah, so for example, like did you create the project information management plan or a plan that's equivalent? Did you create the execution plan? I don't know, were any of these things also created in one way or the other by you or managed by you? We need to mention that. Supplier information management requirements, engineering. So yeah, if you've also worked with these teams, engineering, procurement, quality, it will be good to mention them as well. Procurement, yeah, okay, we've got procurement here. Yeah, degree in IT, yes. Technical project coordination, delivery project management, yes. Information systems, CAD design, engineering, BIM software, document management. I think we have. Let's take a look at the keyword. These keywords, some keywords here, but none of these are what we're looking for in this job. Soft skills, like for example, easily adaptable. I would avoid any kind of like fluffy soft skills that are just listed on their own in the skills section on the CV, because they don't really mean anything, you know, like anybody can say I'm a good communicator, and I see this all the time in CVs when I was working in talent acquisition, but it didn't actually mean anything. Like if everybody says good communication and there's no context on top of that, then it doesn't really add anything to the decision making. And also 25,000 followers on LinkedIn, like they're not hiring for an influencer, right? They're not hiring for a LinkedIn influencer or a content person, so there's no need to mention this. I would just like get rid of the unnecessary information as much as possible, and only keep information that's like really quite relevant to these specific roles. International driving license, you don't need this. Neither of these jobs ask for it, so there's no need to add that. Publications, projects, achievements. Achievements quite cool, but publications are not very relevant here because you're applying for project manager and product manager roles and not something that's specific like in an academic field. So I wouldn't like maybe, or just I would swap the order a little bit. I think achievements is cool because like you can kind of get a sense of this person's like drive, and oftentimes like, you know, like for example the fact that you're Erasmus scholar, you've done all these things, like I think that shows that you're a very proactive person. So these are actually good signs that can like help us picture who you are and like picture the kind of candidate that you are. So I would swap achievements with publications and then reduce some of the things in the soft skills. To be honest, I would just even go like technical skills and remove the soft skills altogether, because the main thing is we're missing like the relevant information. So for the technical project manager role, for example, at GE, like if you've done those things that the terminology implied, then add those keywords under the skills section. And yeah, and then we'll have to see, yeah, internships. To be honest, I would remove all the internships because you've got like quite a few years of academic and professional experiences. Like, we don't need to look at where you did your internships unless there are like super relevant companies to the ones you're applying to. Um, so yeah, German would be desired good practices. Yeah, here like there's so much more terminology, keywords. Yeah, if you can add to those things, and like once again, General Electric GE is also another huge company. So it might be that you still need a referral to get ahead of the game. But first, yeah, the CV needs a lot of polishing. So I think we've gone through most of the ones that have come in. I think I've got one more CV to go through, but we don't have the anonymized functionality yet, or maybe the person didn't select it, so I need to quickly just go in and anonymize this person's CV a little bit, and then I'll come back to the stream. So maybe let me just put the scene up. If you want your CV reviewed, go to offerbee.de, go to services, find the CV review button, and use the promo code livestream2903. So this is a one-time use promo code just for today for the people who are joining the live stream now, so that you can use your CV also as like a case study for other people who might be watching this. It's also helpful for each other. I think there's a lot we can learn from the communal experiences and knowledge as well. I think sometimes like you also see what other people are doing really well on their CVs that maybe you haven't thought about before. Like I think the last CV we reviewed, generally it's quite good. It's giving me a lot of information. This person's very experienced. He's got his PhD. Like he also had lots of these achievements, but it's just that we need more relevant experiences for the jobs. So I'm going to keep the camera here. I'm going to quickly check some of our comments across the different platforms, see if I'm missing anything. Okay, so we've got 2 CVs. Somebody left a comment, I think on LinkedIn. Can an ATS read this CV well? So were you talking about the CV that we reviewed together? Were you talking about this CV? Can the ATS read this CV well? Well, the thing is, like, the ATS doesn't really do any active decision making. Like, that's all like internet nonsense. I don't know who started this like urban myth, but the ATS doesn't really do anything. What it really is like a PDF or document previewer. Like, same as if you opened a document on LinkedIn, you know, same as if you send me a document via email and then I open it. Like, that's pretty much the same gist. It's just a way to preview. But normally PDF formats work the best because I've received, like, I'm pretty sure image file formats, because a lot of people do their CV on Canva, and then when they export, they just export to a PNG, like an image file. And that doesn't always work so well because, like, we can still view it, but what the ATS sometimes might do is that it might parse information into actual fields. So for example, it'll try to say on the side, like, this person's first name, or this person's full name, this person's like contact information, the phone numbers here, the emails here. The ATS does this, so then we don't have to go into each of these individual like CVs and like copy paste or like write down additionally this person's phone number, for example, if we need to call them about something. Or for example, like, you know how when you send an email, and a lot of the like emailing systems and CRMs have this as well, because ATS is essentially a very specific kind of CRM. Like, the CRM will say, okay, you're drafting an email and you want to start the email with, hi, first name, comma, I'm writing to you about this position, blah, 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 and we're currently like still interviewing the candidate, so please like give us some time to get back to you about a decision, right? So let's say like I need to write an email like this, and it's pretty common, and instead of like actually going in and copy pasting or like typing down every single name or every single first name, or like try to spell it out, if the ATS can already parse the first name, then I can just use that field directly. So this is like really all that would be the ATS will be doing that has to do with like I don't know, the CV layout or and stuff. So to be honest, like I don't see any reason why this ATS wouldn't read the CV well. So I don't think there's any issue. Like even if it doesn't automatically parse the correct first name or last name, it's not a big deal because it's not what I'm basing my decision making on. Like I will still, as a person, talent acquisition person or HR person or hiring manager, go into the ATS and like go through CVs one after the other through previewing it like so, exactly how I'm doing it today in like Google Drive basically. And I'm gonna read this myself. So first I read the work experience, skim through the work experience in like 10 seconds, and then I'm going to look at like additional technical skills and see if I miss anything, and look at like maybe the bio section because sometimes it's quite interesting, and maybe look at like other skills like accomplishments that sometimes other people have, and then I make my decision within 30 seconds. That's it. So I don't see any reason why the ATS would not read this well. Alright, so let me just put my face up while I hide myself trying to pull out some of the additional CVs that we received coming in on the platform. So just give me a few seconds. And I am gonna try to anonymize this person's CV. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, if you have any like additional questions or thoughts, or like it doesn't have to be CV specific, it can also be like just job search in general, or like interview process, or I don't know, like salary negotiation. Like if you have any job search questions, you can also put them in the chat. We are live on Twitch, LinkedIn. After much difficulty, we are live on LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. So on LinkedIn, it's under this event that you see. On Twitch and YouTube, it's under the account called Annie Offerby, ANNIE OFFERBE. So why I wanted to do Offerby, I used to work as a talent acquisition specialist. So I did that for 3 to 4 years or so in Berlin, where I hired for multiple companies across like tech and startup in general. So I think in total I hired for 5 different companies, and I've also been a part of interview processes if I was not the talent acquisition person. I've hired for a lot of the most common roles across software engineering, machine learning, data science, sales, customer success, marketing, product, what else? Finance, and data, and more. So I was also kind of a 360 recruiter, and I've done sourcing, I've done interviewing, I've written job descriptions. So I've done quite a lot of those things. Let me see if I can try to anonymize this CV. 1 second. Let me know if you have any specific questions you want to ask. I would say that my experience is most applicable in tech companies in Europe. And I'm saying Europe because there are quite a lot of differences when it comes to like decision making in different continents. So for example, like in Asia, in North America, the hiring practices could all be quite different. In Germany and in the UK, we have like a more maybe similar set of norms when it comes to hiring. Like in Germany, for example, we have normally a 2 to 3 month notice period. So that means the time from when somebody signs the contract and ready to join, it'll actually take like quite a few months. So it takes quite long to fill a position. So I hope I have anonymized the CV. So let me just double check. Cool. I'm gonna pull it up for you to see. 1 second. So this person gave me 2 jobs I could work with as well. So just a moment. Okay, this one's prepped. And let me look at the other one. Oops, 1 second. Oh, okay, another one came in. Okay, so actually somebody who just gave me their CV said, they didn't send me a job, so I would say please also give me a few examples of jobs you want to apply to, otherwise the CV advice will be very limited. Because for the same role at different companies, if even if it's this exact same job title, their hiring standards will be very, very different. Not to mention if you're applying to a few different jobs that have different job titles. So it's very, very important that you also give me the context. You tell me what kind of company or position you want to apply to, and that usually makes the review a lot more like relevant. Okay, I just saw more questions on the LinkedIn Live. What I mean is being able to identify the information and categorize it correctly. Usually double columns get all mixed and confused. Do they? I don't know if that's true, that double columns get all mixed and confused. Because it's not like we just take the 2 columns and we pull all information into 1 column. Like, able to identify the information and categorize it correctly, like, because it's not what, like, I think it's not a really big deal breaker. As long as your CV is like readable, like a regular PDF, then that's fine, because the human making the decisions. Like, it's not that we're gonna only read the ATS parsed outcome in terms of the content. You know what I mean? So, like, I think it's fine, like, if it eventually happens, because there's no way for you to always 100% proof against every single ATS there possibly is. There's like dozens and maybe even hundreds of them around the world. Like, there's no way you can guarantee that your CV will work for every single one of them. But they're not the ones rejecting you. They're not the ones inviting you to an interview. So at the end of the day, it's really still about how you visualize the relevant information in your CV in a human readable way, so that somebody can scan your CV for about 10 to 30 seconds and find it highly relevant and invite you to an interview. That's the main challenge. So don't worry about all of this. Like, if your formatting is good for the machine, but it's really ugly for the human eye, or I can't really read it, or because for whatever reason you have like, I don't know, low contrast, you have like light yellow text on white background, like that obviously wouldn't work. So at the end of the day, like, you don't know if you're always gonna be able to make sure the ATS identify all the right information. I personally use a 2-column CV because I find it to be more efficient in presenting relevant information up top. So, like, I personally use it and it's worked out fine for me for years. So, yeah. So I think this CV, for some reason I'm not able to open this document. Let me just come back to that in a bit. And I think we've got a third CV come in as well. Let me just quickly prep these documents in the background. So for the, I think you know who you are. So for the cloud security person who sent in their CV through OfferBee, do you want me to anonymize it for you because there's personal information and we're going to be like presenting it in the live stream? If you like, do you want me to anonymize it? Let me know, and I'll also leave a note for you in OfferBee. So please check. All right, then. Last one. So we've got the CV here. Also not working. Might be an issue of the platform because the CV review management system is a new feature on OfferBee, so I might have to double check if that's an issue. But for the person who just sent in two job descriptions, one for the live ops game owner and the other one for product manager mobile apps, and said that there are a couple of the older applications, like I couldn't open your CV, so I'm gonna come back to you later. After we finish the live stream, I'm gonna try to see if there's an issue on our platform or something else. But I'll make sure to still review your CV and leave comments in the platform. So, okay, so anonymize this CV. So give me 2 seconds and I'll be able to pull it up. Feel free to throw in your additional career job search questions and I'll be able to answer in the meantime. Oh, somebody else. Oh, you're back. I remember you from Twitch. Hey, I've been trying to apply for a few recent internship positions posted on university website. How I can make a resume focused on this? Do you think you possibly review my portfolio, what I should add on my resume for this specific role? Yeah, sure. We talked a bit about your CV last time, but send me those jobs this time again. So follow the instruction on the screen. Go to OfferBee, use services, use the promo code livestream2903, and I'll be able to see your like specific questions and the jobs that you submitted in the background. So yeah, please do that. And we might have this issue that we have to look into because I, at the moment, don't seem to be able to open files directly in that portal, but we will be able to figure it out and I will make sure to get back to you. So you also said, I thought ATS system also looked for relevant keywords in your resume to see if you're fit for the role. Not any ATS I've used, and I've used like 6-7 different one of them, so not really. And but I want to caveat this. I remember that you are from North America, right? Or at least you're looking for a job in North America. So I want to say that the hiring norms are a little bit different because we in Europe and Germany specifically are quite like backward. Like we're quite like cautious with a lot of like automating tools and software that are like making decisions too autonomously. So it might be there might be a regional difference. I don't want to speak for how North American companies use ATS, and maybe they're able to use some features that are never used here, but I worked in talent acquisition for 6 different companies. I hired for 6 different companies, and I have a bunch of friends and former colleagues who still work in HR and talent acquisition, and none of them has seen these features that automatically reject candidates or move them to the interview stages just because of certain keywords that show up, because this is too easy to game, you know what I mean? Then I just put all the keywords, like I just copy paste the whole job description into my like CV and I add it in like white text and then I'll be able to pass. Like it's too easy to game, and whichever company that uses this is like pretty dumb, you know? And just because you mention certain keywords like doesn't mean you're necessarily still you have the equivalent amount of skill set and level of experience in those like areas, right? And last but not least, a lot of job descriptions, they only mention some of the hiring criteria. You know what I mean? Because there's some things that they're looking for. Companies often can't really say out loud in the job description. Like, for example, companies like hiring people who have come from other famous companies, right? Like, if you worked at Fang, if you worked at like Google, Netflix, all these like whatever companies, Airbnb, like companies love that because they're like, oh, you worked at like, you know, a world leading like software company that is really good at doing these things, and so maybe like you've seen those best practices and you can bring those skill sets to our company. So companies love that, And um like that oftentimes is a hiring kind of is a factor that heavily features in the decision making process, but that's not something that we can say in the job descriptions. Like, that wouldn't be legal, first of all. And secondly, it just shows how shallow we are as companies, but it is how it works, unfortunately. And I also personally think it's really, really dumb because if I were an early stage startup, actually somebody who used to work at Google and has never worked at a startup is a really bad fit for us because we're looking for people who can probably do a lot of different things within their area and are quite autonomous and maybe are like able to look at the big picture more. But if you're an individual contributor at a huge like tech company, your area of responsibility is very, very specific, and you have all these different tools like access to like things that we don't have at small early stage startups. But anyways, all of this is to say, it's an urban legend because like how ATS work like this, because you can really just look up how they work and what their features are. Like, just go to the website or just go to YouTube and search for like Ashby is a common one. Ashby demo. You can look at a product demo and you can see what features there are. Some companies will try to promote their AI automatic like rejection whatever feature or like keyword selection feature. Um, it's probably, if they promote it, then they probably support it, but like I guarantee you vast majority of companies would not be able to like use those features in actual decision making. At least also for white collar jobs, like sometimes you have companies hiring a lot of blue collar workers and maybe the requirement is a bit more straightforward, like we need people with a driving license who have done like similar things and boom, that's it. And if you don't have a driver's license of this like you know category, then obviously you can't do the job. Or yeah, so it's different when it comes to maybe other fields, but for like office work that we do, it doesn't really work like that. So let me just finish anonymizing the CV and we will be good to go. 1 second. All right, so first let's start with this one. Let me switch back to the stream. So here we have somebody who's data analyst, BI developer, reporting, dashboarding, summary, data analyst, Erasmus internship abroad, Vision Factory. Okay, this experience is this person still doing their studies? Yeah, probably, right? I don't know if they've graduated yet, but yeah, it seems like they're still studying because the most recent internship ended almost 2 years ago. Yeah, so new grads will probably face a very competitive job market at the moment. Data analysts develop structured Power BI dashboards reporting to monitor financial operational costs, KPIs, extract and transform data, use SQL, Python, prepare reliable analysis. ETL pipelines, cool. Looks decent. Okay, cool. Main challenge will probably just be that this person is still a student and probably will only graduate in a few months, or maybe like if they're graduating, I don't know, now. And the fact that their most recent experiences are from are from like 2 years ago. So let's see. Let's take a look together. So they send me 2 jobs that they want to apply to. First is this intern data analytics. Holido, pretty well-known company. Yeah, one of the world's fastest growing vacation rental technology companies. 700 people. Part of the BI intelligence, business intelligence department. Data science, data analytics, data engineering teams. Cool. Duration 6 months. This is internship, right? Yeah, internship. Okay, so let's look at some of the specific things. Your role in this journey. maybe here, not only delivering reports, understanding business context, questions they answer and why they matter. Collect, analyze, interpret large data sets, solve real business challenges. Dashboards, SQL, Python, Looker. Okay, I'm pretty sure I saw SQL and Python already. Don't know if I saw Looker, but that's a good start. Collaborate closely with teams such as product, marketing, finance, blah, blah, fine. Build and improve data pipelines. Cutting edge technologies, AI first team, okay. Collaborate data scientists. Your backpack is filled with cute. Okay, let's see. Currently enrolled in or recently completed bachelor and master's degree, qualitative field. Yeah, nice. Okay, so this person currently enrolled in the master's degree, understanding of SQL, Python, proficiency, Excel, Google, blah, blah, blah. A desire to learn visualization tools like Looker. Okay, cool. So they didn't say that Looker is a must, but Looker is like probably something this person will have to learn. Knowledge of machine learning statistical models a plus. Yeah, okay, this is fine. So yeah, the first three keywords, first three bullet points, of the requirements always contain the most important piece of information. Let's see. So actually a pretty simple job description. And when the job description is simple, it's a good thing in the sense that then it's very clear probably the key things they're looking for, and they're not trying to add a lot of fluff to it. So what do we know? We need to apply those keywords and try to somehow like make sure that they're incorporated in our experiences if we've done those things. If we haven't, then usually you can still list it on the skills section because maybe you can still learn now, right? Like for example, if you didn't know about Python before, but you know about other programming languages, maybe that's something you can pick up now. So you can still indicate it under the skills section. Let's see, SQL, Python, we already have that. Looker, do we have? No. But maybe you've used a visualization tool that's similar to Looker. Tableau, right? Power BI, I guess maybe those are similar. I think that's good. What else? Machine learning, machine learning, statistical stuff. So where's machine learning? I don't see machine learning, but this is a nice to have, I think. Yeah, knowledge of machine learning, statistical. Yeah, this is a nice to have. Machine learning, data model, yeah. It's fun. I think it's a nice to have, so it's not really a requirement. Our tech stack. Oh, I didn't see this part. Our tech stack. AWS Stack, Airflow, DBT, Looker. I think for interns, really, this is not super important. It's like if you're still studying, it's very common that you don't have experiences in all the tech stack that they mentioned. So I think it's fine. We don't need to try and cover each one of those keywords, and it's not part of their requirements. It's just them saying like, this is what we use. Okay, so I think from a key requirements perspective, you cover everything pretty much. So I think you have a good profile for this role. Holido is probably going to be quite competitive as well. So if you can, then maybe try to get a referral, or try to apply like as soon as possible. And then let's see how it goes. I think for early fresh grad profiles, like you just have to try quite a lot of different places because it's going to be quite competitive. But I think you have a solid profile. It's pretty good for this role. So let me know how it goes. Then next one is Junior Data Analyst Marketing. 2 weeks ago. This was posted 2 weeks ago. So just keep that in mind. Like they could still be interviewing, but maybe they will be... Okay, so this job is in German. Let's translate it to English so we can all read it. Is it working? Is it working? Why is it not working? Google Translate. Okay, let's struggle through with my B1 level German. Maybe in the meantime, I saw comments. Really cool to see you work hard to start your own job reviewing business. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So I hope that this can be beneficial for more people. Technically, I do a lot more than CV review because this is only for the start of the journey. I also do one-on-one job search coaching. I also do mock interview sessions, so quite a lot of the more senior individual contributors tend to find the mock interview sessions quite helpful. And there are a lot of people who just haven't interviewed in a long time. It's also helpful for them. So I also offer those, but most importantly, right now I'm trying to build my own job search product that can hopefully help more people and bring the advice and like good practices at scale to people. So then like we don't all need to spend 2 hours every Sunday together in order to like help people land their jobs. So OfferBee primarily does job search tracking. So a lot of people already track their positions and applications on like Google Sheet and so on. So this is already a really, really good start. But what a lot of people miss is that they don't track the actual job description, and you see how much job description, like the text matters, and oftentimes the job gets taken down after a week because maybe they already have enough applications. And then when you get an interview and then you come back and you realize you don't remember what the job requirements were to prepare for the interview because the job ad is being taken down. So it's very, very, very important to add the job description as well. And at OfferBee, we build a Chrome extension for you to add these job descriptions very, very easily, just 2 clicks. So try out the Chrome extension so you don't have to copy paste every single text. This page is not being translated into English. I don't know why. What happened? But maybe what I can mention already with my B1 German. Let's struggle through. So you need to support the analysis of marketing campaigns, performance data, for example, paid media, website, international campaign. You need to create and care for and automate regular reports and dashboards, KPI, funnel analysis. Like so many of these words are just like English loan words. You success metrics. You work with success metrics of marketing measures with these things. I don't know what ROAS is, but CAC is cost of customer acquisition. Customer acquisition cost. Yeah, CAC. Conversion rates, ad hoc analysis. You support A/B test, campaign evaluation, forecasting, scenario analysis. Data quality, plausibility checks, and tracking concepts, data integration, customer journeys, lead, B2B, funnel, MQL, SQL, performance optimization, performance marketing, e-commerce. Okay, so it's quite like marketing heavy type role. Here, unfortunately on the profile, I don't see anything that's marketing specific. So if you want to apply to this role, I would really recommend you to add more things that you've done that are specific to the field of marketing, because there are these metrics like conversion rates, cost of customer acquisition that will be like very very, very important. So the data role, I think, is one of those roles where the requirements can differ quite a bit depending on what team you're supporting. So for example, like product roles can be really, really different. Project management roles can be really different depending on what kind of like team you're supporting, what kind of product you're working on. Data roles as well, like sometimes you're working in data in like the product analytics team. Sometimes you're working in data to support the sales team. Sometimes you're working in data to support the marketing team. And all their tooling is different. All the key metrics are different. And the main things that they're looking for oftentimes are very different. So let's continue and just struggle through the requirement section. So somebody said translate struggles on LinkedIn native. Yeah, true. That's very true. I've seen that before. So yeah, let's struggle with me now. You finished a study or currently are studying things like data analytics. Yeah, fine. You bring first practical experience with ideally marketing or in the data field. You verfügst über gute analytische analytics, like field of knowledge, or like area knowledge, ausgeprägtes Zahlenverständnis, like good understanding of numbers, I guess. Okay, this doesn't really tell us anything. You have first experience with analytics and reporting tools, Excel, Google Sheets, Google Looker. Yeah, we have that. Like, we've got at least both Power BI and Tableau. Business Grundkenntnisse in marketing KPIs, performance marketing logic. Yeah, this is what's missing on the CV right now. Like, all of this marketing stuff. You work in a structured way, I guess. Solution oriented. Okay, fine. Doesn't tell us much. Very good German and very good English. I think our candidate speaks both, so we're good. Yeah, fine. I think B2 German's good. Ideally, interest in AI and Amplitude would be an advantage. So Amplitude is like a website / product analytics tool, I believe. Like, I know about it for product analytics, so I guess it's also for marketing or landing page. So yeah, for example, if you want to apply to this job, really make sure to get some of those marketing things in there, like if you have done analytics for marketing teams, like really make sure to highlight those. Yeah, I think so far I don't see anything that stands out directly that has specific things to do with like apply customer segmentation or counter behavior trends is a bit different. Not really marketing if they're already customers. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, you see how important it is to supplement the CV review with like knowing what jobs the person wants to apply to, because really, like, these two positions look for slightly different things, even though they're both junior roles or intern roles. And I would say our profile today, our CV today, is very good for the first role, but maybe missing quite a bit of the marketing stuff for the second role. So good luck. I hope you can land your ideal role, and let me know if you have more questions. So next one, we've got a cloud security specialist. And we've got one job, which is the security engineering role on LinkedIn that we're going to check out later. So first, let's have a glimpse. So first, I am struggling big time with the CV already because, as you know, because we've gone through quite a few CVs now in the past 2 sessions, it's very, very important to like really highlight the career and professional experiences, because that's the first section we look at when we're reviewing the CV. Like, we're not looking at your contact details, not looking at the summary. Most of the times we're not going straight to the technical skills because we want to contextualize your overall experience first. And like, if you just list a keyword, I don't know what level of experience you have with the skill, right? Like, you could be new, like just learned it last month, or you could have been doing it for 10 years, right? So usually go straight to the professional experiences section. On the first page, I don't see that. Education is not important, as we mentioned, for tech companies, unless it's a role that requires specific academic background. Methodology framework, like this, yeah, maybe for the cloud security context, but still, I need to see your work experiences first and foremost. Here, additional training, language skills, like, it's very rare that I see a CV where the professional experiences is in the second page and the second half of the second page. So yeah, like, first thing, let's move that all the way up top. What I would say is the format is not very optimized as well, because like, somebody's gonna be skimming through this in 10 to 30 seconds, and if they struggle to find like work experiences within the first 10 seconds, then they're already gonna struggle a little bit more, and they're probably not gonna spend like a few minutes on the CV. So first, move up professional experiences to right underneath summary, right? That needs to come first. And the summary is a bit long. Cut it down to maximum 3 sentences. So move that up, cut down summary to 3 sentences. Like, we don't need to say all of that. Our experiences should speak for itself. And you see how like the first third of the page almost is taken up by stuff that's not important for decision making, like photo, like contact details, like name, like titles, like okay, title a bit. Like I would say you can keep this and just remove the junior, because different companies will level people differently. So you could think of yourself as a junior, but maybe you're not a junior in some companies. And I would recommend our candidates generally not like kind of undersell yourselves, if that makes sense. So move up professional experiences. Then let's focus on the experience a little bit more, because I noticed that this is a career changer, right? So this is somebody who used to work in HR and then became a clinical psychologist for a bit, and then also was working in cloud security. So a career changer. And here, to be honest, I think it's okay, because your professional experience in itself in cloud security is not very long. So I think it's okay that you don't put a second section, because it's not like you start your life from zero the second you switch to a new career, right? Like, and all of that resets. Like, you still bring very valuable experiences in like working with people, organizational skills, presentation skills, analytical skills, problem solving skills. So it feels like maybe you're feeling like it's hard to tell a consistent story, so you want to separate these two sections. But to be honest, I think it's fine to just combine them and say experience, because there's already not much going on here. Hobbies and interests, remove that. References, yeah, remove that, because we all know we will ask you for references if we need them. And at the CV stage, we definitely don't need to ask for your references. Like, we haven't even spoken to you yet, right? So remove all of that. Move this whole experience up to summary section. And then maybe let's talk more once we've looked at the job itself. Certification can come on certification, education, all should come under experiences, because they don't matter as much, as I mentioned. Language skills, depending on the job. Sometimes maybe some like job asks for a specific language you're fluent in and you want to highlight it, you can put it up top, but most likely it wouldn't matter in this case. Okay, so let's look at the job together. It's the security engineer role. Cloud security, Azure. Neko Health. Blah blah, shift healthcare from treating illness to preventing it using advanced... Okay. Security engineer focus on cloud security, play a key role protecting Azure environment. Azure? How do you say that? Within a regulated healthcare setting. Design and implement robust security controls, monitor for threats, ensure compliance while enabling teams securely build and operate cloud infrastructure at scale. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think these two have quite a bit of like overlap. What you do in the first 6 to 12 months. Enforce secure baseline across Azure infrastructure, improving overall cloud security posture, risk visibility, harden and secure Azure resources, including virtual machine storage and databases. Okay, this might be things that we need to keep an eye out for on the CV. Let's see. Optimize Microsoft Defender for cloud and Sentinel monitoring. Yeah, here, same policy as code practices for infrastructure deployments, ensuring consistent auditable security enforcement. Policy as code. Did they just... Okay, this a bit like, if your two sections are going to repeat each other, then you don't need to like write them separately. Just like combine it into one section. Terraform ARM templates. Maybe that's something you want to mention. Let's take a look. Architecture review, threat modeling, cloud services. Partner with engineering DevOps team. Support cloud incident response, support incident response. Produce audit ready. Okay. Minimum requirements. Notice how they say minimum qualification. Sorry. notice how they say minimum qualifications. Like, to be honest, that's what almost every job description actually means, because I get a lot of people who are like, oh, I've like met every single requirement on the job description, how come I'm not selected for the interview? Because that's the starting point. And you're gonna have to essentially, like, the main question for the hiring team is, why should I hire this person over the other person? So the actual bar is set by other people who are also applying to this role, which is why hiring at companies like Google, Meta, Facebook, whatever, like those companies are so competitive, because they have so many more other candidates that raise the bar so high. So keep that in mind. I think it's good that they phrase it this way, because this is much more like honest. Hands-on experience with Azure security services, including Defender for Cloud. Yes. This was repeated for the third time, right? So we definitely need to have that on the CV. Strong understanding of identity and access management, least privilege and identity protection. Yes, this needs to be in the CV. Compliance framework, on the CV. Infrastructure as code, tools such as Terraform. Yep, mentioned that twice already. Integrating IAM, SOAR platforms, and cloud management solutions. Okay, like really good and easy to work with, to be honest. They don't have a lot of that fluff, so let's look for some of those keywords. Azure Defender for Cloud, great. By the way, ideally we see those experiences contextualized in the experiences, in the actual experience bullet points, and not just like separate. So for example here, Azure Cloud Security, yeah, we have Azure Microsoft Defender for Cloud, really good. IAM, is that one of the things? No, it's ARM. Nice. Reviewed and improved access management following least privilege principles, blah blah blah. Okay. Kubernetes security posture. AKS. I think some things we didn't see here, so let me try to find it elsewhere. Infrastructure as code. Yeah. Terraform. We don't have a Terraform. What else? ISO and those security standard thingies, frameworks, compliance frameworks. ISO and what? NIST, CSF, and HIPAA. NIST, CSF, yeah. HIPAA. Is it possible to add ISO and HIPAA in here as well? Because it could be things that you, even if you didn't do them in the job, it would be good to like maybe show that you're studying or you're learning about them. What else? I think that's mostly it. ARM, yeah, Terraform ARM templates. Policy as code. I think we saw policy as code, but we didn't see which like tools or framework. Infrastructure as code. Okay, that's a bit different, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so I think in terms of the actual experiences, it seems okay, because our candidate has only done an internship and hasn't done super extensive like full-time work experiences. But yeah, to be honest, I think like the main issue is really with the structure and the layout. Like too much unnecessary information up front, and key information needs to go like immediately here, and remove like unnecessary stuff like references, hobbies, interest, and put like technical skills, methodology, blah blah underneath, and additional training can go underneath as well, and then language and education can go at the very end. And this whole section like needs a bit of optimizing as well. So I think that's it in terms of the anonymized CVs that we're going to review today. And also it's a bit past the scheduled stream finish time, but I hope this was helpful to people who have submitted their CVs on OfferBee. I think there's at least like one person who submitted the CV on OfferBee that I wasn't able to look at just yet, but I will definitely get back to you on the platform itself. Definitely within the next like 24 hours. We're going to try to see if there's an issue with the file, the way that we handle the file, and we're going to try to fix it. If you have any more questions, if you want to see like slightly different formats in the future, don't hesitate to let me know. You can reach out to me via email. You can just leave a comment in any of these platforms. And I'm gonna try to do this live stream every Sunday around the same time. So yeah, thanks all and see you soon. Good luck. Bye.